Hey everyone, it's Mario with Home Creations, and I often get a lot of questions when it comes to financing. So I thought, what better way than to go directly to our source and ask some of the most common questions I get. That way you guys can get some of the answers that we commonly get, for the questions that we have. So today I've got Leah Stanger. Thanks a lot for joining us, Leah. And you're actually out of town, but you still agreed to join us today, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity.
Now tell us, where are you at again right now?
I'm in Austin, Texas for the state baseball playoffs my son is
Okay.
participating in.
Nice, nice. Well, good luck to him. Hope they win the championship. So,
Let's hope. Thank you.
well, I wanted to get started by, we work with different lenders, but you're definitely one of the preferred lenders that we work with at Home Creations. So we're glad to have you. But for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about your background because you have an extensive background when it comes to the lending industry.
Yes. So I have been in the mortgage industry since college, since I got out of college. And I started my career working for a master servicing company. So I ran their default division, which was foreclosures, bankruptcies, REOs, and loss mitigation. And from there, I became an auditor for HUD. And after that, I became a loan officer. And during my run at being a loan officer, the entry of it, I decided that the best way to figure out how to put a file together was to become an underwriter, which I became that as well.
Okay.
So I've been doing this a really long time, but I love the origination side of it because it's the pretty side.
So you've seen like the ups and downs as far as what rates have done in the past and kind of the booms and the busts. So you've kind of been through it all, right?
Yes, all of them.
Good and bad, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
the good and
So
bad.
one of the most common questions I get from especially first-time home buyers is
Yeah.
they really don't know where to start. Like, what documents do they need to prepare? What do they need to have ready? What do they need to do or not do? Just kind of the to get started with the whole process. So what would you tell a first-time home buyer? What do they need to have ready for you when they come talk to you about getting a loan?
So the first thing a potential homebuyer needs to do is start with getting pre-approved. It's critical. And they just need to be able to do an application. And what we're looking for is where they've lived and where they've worked for the past 2 years, because that has to be documented. So they also need to bring like their pay stubs, a recent pay stub, W-2s, and asset statements. That way we get a true pre-approval for them. We're not doing some quick little online pre-qual that they can get, because with us, we're very thorough up front, because the last thing you want is to send someone out. They can purchase a $350,000 house, when in reality it may be only 250.
Yeah. So a lot of times people will come in and write a contract, without getting the financing first. And we give them, a lot of time to work with you and figure out what the numbers would look like to make sure they qualify. But I agree, it's probably best for them to get with you first to get that pre-approval so they know what kind of house they can buy, what their payment would look like. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And a lot of times, what especially for home buyers don't understand is that they think, okay, I've got my down payment, but then they forget the piece of you have to have closing costs on top of that. That's a whole nother lump sum of money that they need to be prepared to pay for up front. That's why it's so critical for them to get pre-approved first, to actually see those numbers in writing and make sure that they can afford that.
Okay, that's good advice. And then the other question I get a lot is what kind of credit score do they need to be able to qualify for a house?
So that depends. So with USDA, you typically need at least a 640 credit score for it to run through Gus's automated system. For FHA, we go down to a 580. VA actually does not have a minimum credit score requirement. So with us, if it makes sense, we're going to do the loan. On a conventional, depending on how much they're putting down, if you're putting 20% or more down, you can actually get in with as little as a 620 credit score. But again, it really just depends on the lower the credit score, the more scrutinized that file is through automated underwriting.
And you mentioned down payment. That's another question I get. So what's the minimum down payment someone needs to get a loan?
So if you're a first-time home buyer, your minimum down payment on a conventional loan is going to be 3%. On an FHA, it's going to be 3.5% of the sales price. VA and USDA is 100% financing. If someone is purchasing a home again, they're not a first-time home buyer, they utilize a conventional loan, their minimum down payment would be 5%. But again, if it's someone buying a home again that's FHA or VA, those same minimum down payment requirements are exactly the same.
Okay. And then what's the time frame like from the time someone first starts an application? Granted, let's say they have all their stuff ready for you to process, right? But like what's the
Yeah.
average time from the time they start the application to the time they get pre-qualified with you?
If a client submits their application with also their income and asset documents, that is something we can turn around relatively pretty quickly in as little as an hour.
Okay. That's really
Okay.
fast.
We move fast.
Okay, wow, that's fast. And then as far as that was a lot of questions for first-time home buyers, but you also work with you do jumbo loans, you work with investors, is that correct? What all the other types of loans do you guys offer?
Oh my goodness, we have land loans, jumbo loans, non-QM, which are non-qualified mortgage loans, which are not, those are loans that are typically like a bank statement loan, where we can work off of 12 or 24 months of assets to qualify someone. And we have ITIN loans for clients as well.
Okay. And then one question I forgot to ask you was, can you kind of explain debt to income ratio? Because we hear that a lot, but a lot of people don't really know what that means. So when someone goes to buy a house, it's not really how much money they make, right? It's really what their debt to income ratio is, right?
Yes. So what we look at is not only what their current monthly debts are, we add in their proposed new housing payment, which is your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and if there's HOA dues. So we lump that together, divide it out by their monthly income to come up with their back end ratio, their overall qualifying ratio.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then at Home Creations, we have a program with you that you put together for us, which has been really popular. So we're actually buying down the rate all the way to 3.99% for the first year, and then 4.99 fixed after that. So it makes a big difference. But when we tell people that, what does that actually mean for a home buyer? On average, what does that mean to their monthly payment?
So on a $325,000 purchase price, that's literally a savings of about 180, $590 a month.
Okay. So that makes a big difference.
The seven versus like a 7% interest rate on a comparison level.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a big difference.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a huge savings.
Okay. And then if someone wanted to start the process with you, what's the easiest way and best way for them to start that loan application process?
So they can reach out to me directly at 832-797-9750, and I can help them or someone on my team can help them. Otherwise, they can go to my website, which is leahstanger.com.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of lenders, and I can say every time I reach out, you're probably one of the fastest to respond that I've ever seen. So if you don't answer the phone, you're responding almost immediately right after. So big kudos to that for you.
Thank you. I just feel like communication is really critical. Even if I have to tell someone, hey, it's going to take me a couple hours to get back to you, just as long as you respond to someone, I feel like they appreciate that.
Yeah, and your company, CMG Home Loans, you guys are nationwide, correct? You guys work with people all over the country?
We do. We do. We're in all 50 states plus Puerto Rico.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for your time. I don't want to keep you too long because you've got your son's baseball tournament, so I don't want to keep you from that. But thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it too. You have a great day.
Okay.